Back to Besa starts right now on Fox 13. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Back to Besa. Of course, I'm your host, Besa Gordon, and I think it goes without saying that it's still Black History Month, right? So this week on the show, we're uplifting some of our favorite Black-owned food and wine stories told right here on Back to Besa this season. So definitely grab your snacks because we plan on making you hungry this week. This week on Back to Besa, we head to Lacey Washington for Beau Fish and Chips and Lakewood for Hot Fish House. We go to Rainier Ave in South Seattle for some of that good old barbecue from Little Red's Catering and Takeout. Plus, we head to the Central District for a chicken and beignet brunch at Metier Brewing. We celebrate 3 years of Community in Seattle being open. Oh, and I did mention Black-owned wines. So we head to Bento City, Washington to learn more about Frichette Winery and Portland, Oregon to learn all about chosen family wines. Up first, we're off to Lacey. Beau Fish and Chips has been in Lacey, Washington, putting a little south in your mouth since 2009. Yet, I had no clue they existed until Back to Besa viewer Lacey Washington sent us an email a little while back about the Southern food-based restaurant and why it was a must to check out. So, Back to Besa producer Lavoy Cooks headed down I-5 to Beau Legs, and this is what he found.
My name is Shelly Harris. I am the owner, my husband and I, of Beau Fish and Chips. We have been in business for 15 and a half years here in the Hawkesbury area in Lacey, Washington, serving some of our recipes along with some of our family recipes, getting the South in your mouth here in the Northwest. Here we have our jambalaya, and grits, and a little seafood gumbo for your soul. All our family recipes here at Beau Legs. Husband was our inspiration for opening Beau Fish and Chips. It was always a discussion. We'd always write it down in a book of what it would be if we were to open a place. And we finally were blessed. God put it right on our doorstep, right in the beginning of COVID, when everybody was like, wow, are you ready to jump into that? You know, COVID is a big deal. And my husband was like, yeah, like, you know, we're gonna step out on faith. God done brought us this far, and we did just that. And ever since we stepped out on our faith, Beau Legs been doing awesome. We're putting, you know, the South in your mouth here in the Northwest. Here in the Hawkesbury community, you know, we have some of the most awesome customers that have supported us even through COVID. They would sit outside, tailgate, eat outside, carry out, just to keep us alive during the COVID period, and we made it through the storm. And here we are still today, serving up these recipes and good fish and chips. I would like to invite future customers who's never had a chance to come in here and eat some real fine quality Southern food to come in here and give us a try. We specialize in our fish and chips with a little Southern comfort behind.
Now, Lavoy, I'm still waiting on my plate, friend, but until then, I have to make a plan to get out there because as someone who loves some gumbo, that roux looks on point and I definitely need to try that for myself. As we continue to talk about some of my favorite food segments, we headed to a restaurant in Lakewood that looks so good, even my own dad pulled up to check it out, okay? Not too long ago, we got a tip about a Southern restaurant in Lakewood, Washington called Hot Fish House. And with a name like that, you already know we had to pull up and check it out for ourselves and try some of that good food. And, of course, meet with the owners. Let's just say the recommendation did not disappoint. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Quentin Gathers, owner-operator of Hot Fish House here in Lakewood, Washington. And here's a Hot Fish House. Definitely inspired by the traditional hot fish houses in the South, Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, and South Carolina. Seafood plays a big part along the coastal areas. So I grew up on the islands in Charleston and South Carolina. I grew up in my grandmother's business. She owned a small restaurant called Oakview Lunch. A lot of seafood, a lot of pork. So it's down home Southern living. That's what I was inspired by. Our number one selling item on right now is the catfish fillets, catfish, the turkey legs. Those are our top selling items right now. So we sell a lot of catfish and turkey legs.
We wanted to make sure that our customers felt like they were getting that Southern experience. And so, you know, that's what that red stands out for, family, blood, love, you know what I'm saying? And so many times, seriously, so many times I hear our customers say, you know, I feel like I'm at home. You know, when they come in here, they feel down home.
I've seen the same customer come here almost every day, and she's really nice.
We're at a point where we can reinvest, not only as an entrepreneur, but reinvest in the community, you know, and that's what we're big on, is the people we hire that are transitioning through life, the people that we bring on and just try to be impactful in other people's lives. So our big saying here is, you know, God does a lot of things, not what God can do for you, what God does through you. And He allows us to be impactful in other people's life, you know, people that were coming just out of prison or coming out of being homeless. We've changed a lot of lives. We have almost 15 employees and we've become one great family. That's an important part of being, you know, a leader in the community, you know, what you give back. Hey, come out and support us, veteran-owned, black-owned business. We're here to, like I said, make an impact in the community. That's our goal. Again, we're at 3926 100th Street Southwest, Hot Fish House, Lakewood. Come out and see us.
If you're in the Lakewood area, and even if you're not, you should pull up to Hot Fish House and get some of that good old Southern food. My dad is mad picky when it comes to not only eating out, but Southern cuisine. And according to him, the food is good. And by the way, I hear their turkey leg plates are a whole vibe. You can learn more about Hot Fish House online at hotfishhouse.com. And if there is a restaurant that you think we should check out, dude, shoot me an email at backtobesa@whereweconverge.com. We're off to our first commercial break, but when we come back, we're taking a small break from food. And when I say small, I do mean small because we have more restaurants to talk about later on the show. But until then, up next, we're off to Portland, Oregon to tap in with former trailblazer Channing Frye to learn all about Chosen Family Wines. Welcome back to Besa. Jumping onto the topic of wine, former NBA champion and trailblazer Channing Frye has found a new passion in life after retiring from basketball: wine. Teaming up with former teammate Kevin Love, Jacob Gray, and winemaker Chase Renton, Channing launched Chosen Family Wines, a company dedicated to connecting people through their love of amazing wines and community. Their mission is to bring people from all walks of life together. Check out Channing's story and learn more about this exciting new venture. Hey guys, Besa Gordon here. We are still in Portland, but right now I am with Channing Frye, founder of Chosen Family Wines.
Yeah, hi, how you doing? Thank you for coming.
Man, thank you for having me. I cannot wait to learn more about your story, how you got into the wine business, and I heard you had Chardonnay, so you already know this is my favorite spot right about now.
We got that good stuff. Yes, we definitely do. So Chosen Family Wines is something that came about 4 or 5 years ago. I think it came about from my love and Kevin and some of our owners' love of wine, and I think it's about gathering people to the table and having them enjoy not only the time with each other, but good wines. I think the way that we try to communicate at Chosen is the way that we speak every single day. So we're not trying to hit you with the salesman speech. We're trying to talk to you as I would talk to my brother or my cousin or my best friends. The response has been even better from the community, especially in the Willamette Valley. Different winemakers, owners, people really respect what we've been doing and what we're trying to put in this bottle. We try to respect tradition, but also put our own flair on what's happening for the future, because if we don't start communicating with different communities, you know, it'd be bad business. And also, nobody drinks wine, nobody gets into the wine industry to keep it for themselves, right? I want to share this. I love it so much that I want to share it with the world, and especially my community. There's only 3 black owners of wine brands in Oregon, and I'm one of those. And CJ McCullum is the other one, and Bertoni is the third. So for me, the responsibility of not only putting good juice in a bottle, but it's to my community, of reaching out. And this February, we linked up with other athletes that are in the wine industry, like Dwayne Wade, CJ, Chris Paul, LeBron, Josh Hart, those kind of guys. So what we're trying to do is use our platform to show people, trust us for making good wine, quality wine that's affordable, and that also we want you to experience these great things that we have. It's not just about the wine. It's about the story of the winemaker, the story about the land, and the story about the people. For me, it's breaking down barriers one sip at a time, right? Everyone thinks rosé is cheaply made. Ours is not cheaply made. It's also not regular Pinot Noir, Grenache, or Syrah. It's Chardonnay. So every single level, we've thought about these barriers that we want to break down so that when you assume something, you're going to get the opposite from us, right? I have had nothing but people reach out. What do you need, Channing? Like, how can I help you? Can I mentor you? Do you need help with this? Here are numbers for this. And I also think for the city of Portland, we're going through a growth spurt, right? People fell in love with it, and then all of a sudden a lot of California comes. They're bringing their own type of culture. Seattle comes. All these different states come into Portland, and now it's a melting pot. So for us, it's finding what is Portland now. This is not Portland of the 90s, which is great. I've been here 17 years, and if I saw a black person, I'd probably pull the car over like, me and you, buddy, we out here. Now, there are whole communities that are prevalent, that are doing well in the state of Oregon and in the city of Portland that I think we need to put more attention to. And I've had an amazing time here growing with this city and felt the respect and love back. The big thing that's coming up is we have a club membership coming up. And the one thing that is different about us from maybe other wine clubs, not better, just different, is that we have a bunch of different varietals, from Cabernet to 2 types of Chardonnay, 2 types of Pinot Noir from California, from Oregon, Rosé, for Syrah from Washington. So for us, when you get that box, when you're part of that membership, just know it's not always you coming to us, it's us coming to you also. We have a bunch of dinners planned or in the planning, October, November, December. So stay tuned. And if you are interested in this, reach out to us. You know, we have a small group of people. It's us responding to it, and we love hearing your feedback of the wines. And the best place to get it would be chosenfamilywines.com.
Thank you again, and as always, you guys, look, make sure that you grab you some of this good wine. It is amazing, it is fresh, and it is locally owned.
Thank you.
Chosen Family Wines is committed to increasing diversity in the wine industry, and that's just one of the reasons they're a standout company. Not only do they create partnerships with other wines, but they're also making a positive impact by bringing more people of color into the business. Check out chosenfamilywines.com to learn more about their mission, and while you're there, sign up for their wine club to have a box of wine delivered to your doorstep each month. Cheers to a company that's doing good business and making a difference. We're off to another commercial break before our next wine tasting. But when we come back, we're heading to Bento City, Washington to learn all about Frichette Winery. Welcome back to Besa. Out here in Washington State, people love their wines, especially ones that are, well, from our state. But did you know about Frichette Winery? Owned by Shay Frichette, who is not only one of the few black women-owned wineries in our region, but in our country. Yep, that's right. We have one of the few black women-owned wineries right in our backyard. Not too long ago, producer Cesar Canizales told me about Shay Frichette and how she started her winery here in Washington State when Shay and her husband Greg wanted to move closer to family and in either South Carolina or Washington State. Believe it or not, it was the flip of the coin that determined they would be right here in Washington. With a little research and cheerleading from friends, they decided to go into wine, opening their tasting room in 2013 and offering their first vintage of 2011 with 650 cases of wine. Today, Greg and Shay produce nearly 3,000 cases and enjoy hosting events for wine club members and guests from all over the world. Let's take a moment to head over to her winery, which is located over in Bento City, Washington, and get the full story thanks to Cesar Conosales.
Here we have Cabernet Sauvignon.
Shay Frichette, co-owner of Frichette Winery in Bento City, says she and her husband Greg launched their business as a result of a coin flip. Literally, they were living in California and thinking of starting a family, but they couldn't decide between South Carolina, where Shay's parents were, or Washington, where Greg's family lived. So they tossed a coin and ended up in Washington.
So we packed our bags and moved here and looked for new careers. And I mean, who wouldn't want to be in agriculture and making wine? So we decided to start a whole new journey doing just that.
Shay says her family grows crops in South Carolina and Greg's family grows wheat, so it wasn't that much of a leap.
I knew how to drink wine.
That's great.
No, I did not know how to make wine.
They met Dick Boucher, a well-known grape grower in Washington State, who advised them to not just grow grapes, but to get into winemaking.
Agriculture was very comfortable for us and we were very interested in that. And so we thought growing wine grapes would be similar in a lot of ways, but making wine, no clue, no clue.
Boucher introduced the couple to winemaker Charlie Hops, who became their mentor. In 2011, they produced their first vintage of 650 cases.
We had the opportunity with our very first harvest to have one of the best.
Frichette Winery is one of 2 black-owned wineries in the state, out of about 1,000. While there aren't a lot of black-owned wineries around, Shay says that's changing, especially with the younger generation. She says she recently attended an international winemaker summit in California, and the organizers brought in students from black universities.
One of the students studying plant science said, I never saw myself in viticulture. I just never saw black people owning vineyards. And he said, this totally changed my perspective. He said, there are no black vineyard owners in my state, and I'm going to be the first.
Shay says there are many black people in wine because it just hasn't been accessible to them. But people in the industry want to see diversity.
You know, if I'm scrolling on Instagram and I'm looking at, and I follow a lot of wineries and vineyards, the picture of who's visiting those places, who are running those tasting rooms, who are running those vineyards, it looks very different than it did even 10 years ago. And so I think the landscape really is changing in a really positive way.
Frichette Winery produces about 3,000 cases of wine a year, mostly Bordeaux-style red wines, including Cabernet Sauvignon, Malbec, and Syrah. The winery makes one white and dabbles in rosés as well. Shay says that while the thought of expanding is exciting, the size of their production facility doesn't allow it. However, growing Frichette's sachet portfolio would interest her.
I do get excited about maybe expanding the sachet portfolio of wines. I think that's a wine that would be beautiful in the market, in more restaurants and stores. And so I do get excited about that.
To this day, I've never been to a winery to see how wine is truly made, but that doesn't mean that can't change this year. I have to give a huge shout out to Cesar for bringing us this story, and also to that coin for bringing Shay and her husband Greg to Washington State. If you haven't gone yet, Bento City, Washington is about 3.5 hours from Seattle or 20 minutes from the Tri-Cities, and as you can see, it's totally worth the road trip. You can learn more about Frichette Winery by visiting frichettewinery.com. Now that we've gotten our wine fix for the day, we are off to another commercial break, but when we come back, we are off to Little Red's Catering and Takeout in Seattle. Of course, you're watching Back to Besa. to Besa. When Back to Besa first started, one of the places we highlighted was a delicious barbecue spot down on Rainier Ave South called Little Red's Catering and Takeout, where they serve up Jamaican barbecue and soul cuisine. Little Red's is owned by Roscoe Red Jackson, who is known across our community as the big chef with an even bigger heart. Let's take a moment to look back at Little Red's and learn more about their mission.
My name is Roscoe Red Jackson, and hey y'all, we're about to take y'all through Little Red's Takeout and Catering. We are a barbecue restaurant. A lot of people drive by, they see the Jamaican flag in the window, but they also don't see the American flag, and what's more American than barbecue. But we also do Jamaican food here, some Jamaican food, and we also do some soul food here. So it's kind of a variety, but we are predominantly a barbecue restaurant. I started selling food out of the back of my station wagon and driving around to different barbershops, and it just grew from there. And then once a lot of the restaurants in the community started closing down, like Silver Fork and Miss Helen's and a few other restaurants, I'm like, well, we need food in the community. So I got an opportunity to open up my restaurant here in this building, and I took it. I always wanted to be that little hole in the wall in the city. You know, when you travel, some of your best foods comes from those little hole in the wall restaurants. Community around here in the Rainier Valley and in Columbia City, you know, the people that come in here, they support us very well. You know, I feel like we put out a good product. I feel like we treat our customers right. And I mean, if you do things the right way, people are going to take care of it. I'm biased, you know, I came up with a menu, so I think everything on my menu is a must-have. But, you know, people seem to like, you know, as far as meats, they seem to love the oxtails. They seem to love the brisket and the burn-ins, you know, ribs. Sides, they love the greens, the macaroni and cheese, the garlic mashed potatoes, the yams. You notice I'm going through the entire menu. So as I said, I'm pretty biased about everything that we put out because I cook everything with love. You know, I don't hit or miss on one or two different things. You know, I wanted to make sure that everything tasted a certain way. When you have homeless people in the community, you know, they usually ask for money. I've never been one to give money, you know, but who am I to have a restaurant and say that I can't feed you? So people know that they can come in here and they can just get a free plate of food whenever they're hungry. That's one thing that we're really proud of doing here, and we're going to continue to do that. In the food industry, people want to put a name and a face with the product that they're eating. You know, Little Red's is the name of my business. You know, as you can see, I'm not the smallest guy in the world, you know, so it's kind of a play on words. My wife's name is Lilith Anderson. You know, we call her Lil. So that's where we get it from, Lil Red's. So being that we are a family business, you know, in the community, it's important for me to be the family man that's in the community, working and serving the people. I'm definitely seeing more and more black restaurants coming into the central and south end. I haven't had a time to come out and try everybody yet, but that's definitely my goal. But you know, the community needs us, you know, and as far as culture and food and everything else. So it's good to see that everybody, you know, is coming back and, you know, feeding the community, so to speak. So make sure you come and check us out here at Little Red's. We're at 4225 Rainier Avenue South in the old Mondo's Meats building, just north of the Rainier and Genesee.
Not going to lie, when it comes to my favorite restaurants, I'm a woman of habit, okay? I always get the whole snapper, and when I'm feeling a little greedy, which is pretty often, I also get a half slab of ribs, and no, for the most part, I don't share. And once you check it out for yourself, you'll understand why. Little Red's is located at 4225 Rainier Ave South, Seattle, Washington. If you're like me, you love a good brunch, so it's only right we talk about Metier Brewing's chicken and beignet brunch that happened not too long ago at their Cherry Street location after we come back from this short break. welcome back to Besa. Like a lot of people, I really try my best to lay low on Sundays. Whether it's me sleeping in, planning out my week, or even pulling up to a space inside for a sound bowl session. However, I had to get up and get dressed when I was scrolling on Instagram and saw that Metier Brewing Company, located on Cherry Street in the Central District, had a brunch special that was a combination of fried chicken and beignets. While there, we caught up with Metier co-founder Rodney Hines, who personally taught me about the different beers they sell and how some of them are even made, all while Chef Harold Fields was making magic in the kitchen with his beignets. Check out what happened.
Hello everyone, Rodney Hines, one of the owners of Metier Brewing Company, standing in the heart of the Central District. And I just want to say welcome to Metier Brewing Company Tap Room. And when you walk in here, you're going to feel some love from Chef Harold with the Wami Kushi. But before you walk in, what you start to see is art that's being started by Moses' son. And Moses is going to be doing layer after layer of this beautiful mural that's going to take us from outside in with his art. Welcome.
I know a little bit about how you ended up opening your spot here. Like, why Cherry? Like, why come back to the city and open up a spot right here?
Yeah. Well, this is home. It's home for me. I have lived in Seattle for about 25 years, and I biked over here from home, so I'm at just a few blocks away.
You guys make amazing beers, and you have given me an amazing sampling here. Tell me a little bit about what's in front of me.
So we were listening to what you liked, and so I think you told me that you liked a little bit of a nutty flavor. You leaned more towards some of the lighter beers, and so I gave you a medley of giving you a little bit of nutty with some lighter beers.
Well, today we're going to start off making our chicken and beignets. Start with thighs and chicken legs. We'll get dredged in our flour, and the technique we use is called a shake, rattle, and roll. And that's where you take your chicken, dredge it in the flour, shake it, rattle it, and roll it. Yeah, beignet is a light, airy pastry dough that is originated in New Orleans. Then you want to treat it as a traditional beignet, and you want to hit it with that powdered sugar. Get it all nice and coated on there. Our chicken thigh sits on top. Okay. We use our Bright Hill honey. It's an organic natural honey, Washington State. This is our sweet potato hot sauce. It's made from roasted garnet yams. And then we add all of our other seasonings in it. So it's a nice, sweet and spicy complement to the chicken. There you have it. Chicken and beignets. Umami Kushi, Metier Brewing Company. Only here in Seattle.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Do you see that? He did this.
You did your thing.
So Chef Harold from Umami Kushi was a chef at the Space Needle, spent some time in New Orleans. You see some New Orleans coming through, spent some time in Japan. You see a touch of Japanese influence come through. It is craft. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I've been missing out.
Oh my God. It was like pillowy heaven in a bite.
Okay, we gotta dip it in the hot sauce.
You gotta dip it in the sauce.
That's a mandatory thing.
Yeah. I take away your black card if you do that dip. Does it work?
This is so good, I can't even describe it. Like, the juices explode in your mouth.
Oh.
And it's not very often that I go places and then I get like fried chicken like this that is just You saw the juice dripping.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't always happen. I don't know what he did back
I know.
there,
He put his foot in it.
but he's a genius.
He's a master chef.
All right, you guys, I definitely have to thank Rodney for this amazing food, founder of Metier. We also got to thank Harold for really getting down in the kitchen today. But before we go, because I'm definitely going to finish this chicken before I go anywhere, what else would you like for people to know about Metier?
You know, it's whenever I'm introducing folks to our space, and it really starts with the community that comes to our space. So we're here in the Central District. We also are partnering with the Mariners. So we've got Steelheads Alley down across from T-Mobile Park. And then we are in Woodinville with another cool black-owned winemaker. La Chala Wines is over there too. But in all of our spaces, it's all about the community.
You really have to be there to understand the flavors that exploded in my mouth that day, okay? Like, even the homemade hot sauce Chef Harold made lives rent-free in my head. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not sure when they will bring back the chicken and beignets, but I can say every Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., Umami Cushy is serving up delicious spreads of beignets and brunch treats. So pull up and thank me later. And since we are on the topic of amazing brunches, dude, if you have a favorite brunch spot and you want me to check it out, please let me know where it is by shooting me an email at backtobesa@whereweconverge.com. It didn't take long for Communion Restaurant and Bar to become a staple in our city when it comes to food. Not too long ago, they celebrated their 3-year anniversary and our cameras were there to capture the moment. See how it all went down and find out what this restaurant truly means to our community coming up next on Back to Besa. Welcome back to Besa. Now, we can't have a Black History Month episode about my favorite food and wine stories without including Communion Restaurant and Bar. Communion, co-owned by a mother and son duo of Chef Christy Brown and Damon Bomar, has a mission to provide the food, the familiar vibes, and the intimacy that make you feel at home. When it comes to their menu, Seattle soul cuisine is rooted in the traditional American soul food and the riffs based on the experiences and influences of living in the Pacific Northwest. Chef Christy's cooking style tells a story, culture, and the cross-pollination of neighboring communities. In Chef Christy's words, if you look deeply into the various neighborhoods within our cities, you begin to understand the influences that created Communion. Not too long ago, Communion celebrated its 3rd year anniversary, and our cameras were there to capture the moment. And, of course, eat some of the delicious Seattle soul food, okay? Let's check out how it all went down and learn more about Communion. We are celebrating 3 years of Communion. Communion Restaurant Bar opened on this day 3 years ago in the middle of a pandemic. And for a restaurant, that is a phenomenal feat. We are here highlighting the greatness of Chef Christy, of her partner, her son, Damon Bomar, as they celebrate with their phenomenal staff in the community what it looks like to bring exactly what we needed back to the Central District, a wonderful restaurant that we can all call home.
Communion's special because it represents the fruition of ancestry, and that's really inspiring to me. I mean, I just am so inspired by a story of a family that has brought together their recipes and their hard work and their grind and created something that feels like magic. The food is healing.
This first 3 years was really trekking through a lot of hardship, you know what I'm saying? You're coming out the pandemic, you know, we're trying to, you know, keep morale high, keep staffing high, keep it going, keep a high quality product. And that was really tough. And I mean, as we all were going through a lot of tough things, you know, personally and business-wise. But I'm really excited for the future. Yeah.
They declare that we are a people who come from somewhere, that we are people who have a past, that we are people who have a history. And part of that history is celebration. Part of that history is being able to when we were told that we could not laugh and we couldn't have a
For those that don't know, man, my mom started off with That Brown Girl Cooks as a catering company. And I grew up, she started that when I was like, 5 years old. So I grew up in the catering company with her, seeing her work hard, seeing her grind, seeing her client list, seeing her network, seeing her go out and really do the thing, take risks and do all that stuff. And so it's really like, so when I came back from college, I was like, man, like I think the restaurant will really cement her legacy, and it did. And so I'm excited about that, man. Excited about that.
Full, so full of joy. I woke up this morning and made a commitment to keep my heart open. And I wanted to keep my heart open because, just like anybody else, I have my days, where I doubt, where I have doubts, where I don't feel enough, where I am tired. And I didn't want any part of that today. I didn't want any part of that. I wanted to be able to really stand in a space of appreciating myself, appreciating all that I've gone through to get to this point. And I'm just full with the feelings of gratefulness, excitement for the future, and in awe of the gift that I've been given and the amount of people that it's touched. When I think about the times where I didn't have money, I didn't have a car, I had food stamps, but I had a catering job. We made that happen, the actual stamps, not the card. And that's prepared me for where I'm at, and I love it because no matter where I go, people see that in me. And that just lets me know I'm on purpose, and you gotta stay on purpose because this world is doggedly trying to pursue you to take that away from you, to take your joy away from you, pursuing your purpose, from your children seeing you succeed, all of that kind of stuff. But I'm not here for that, and I just want to shine as much as I possibly can so that people can see that beacon to say, oh, okay, again, if she can do it, I can do it. And you can do it.
Today, when I was thinking about all of the things, I was thinking about how people are so touched and moved. And it is a restaurant, but it's a space where people come to get fed. And I've been saying this since we opened. It's like people are hungry for more than just food.
That day was such a beautiful moment. You really had to be there to understand what communion really means to our community. Once again, congratulations, Chef Christy and Damon. When you look back at it, they took a huge leap of faith by opening Communion during the pandemic, but it has paid off. Communion has become a beloved restaurant and a cultural space for our community and beyond. You can learn more by visiting communionseattle.com. We're off to our last commercial break, but when we come back, it's time for Affirmation of the Week. Back to Besa. Of course, I'm your host, Besa Gordon, and as you know by now, we like to end each show with an affirmation. This week's affirmation is, I give myself to take 5 minutes each day to check on and check in with myself. I don't know about you, but I have no issues with texting my friends and calling my friends and being like, hey friend, I'm just checking on you. Hey friend, how are you doing? But here's the thing. We don't take time to check in with ourselves. And I think that we don't take that time to check in with ourselves because it's very uncomfortable. And then it creates moments where we have issues that are within ourselves that just grow and they fester and they just kind of, they overtake us because we never checked in with those moments and we never had a moment to be realistic with ourselves. So even if it's in the morning, right before you get out of bed, right before your feet touch the ground, you take a moment to check in with yourself and be like, am I okay? What do I need today? What can I do better for myself today? Man, start writing down those thoughts. Even if they're negative, you have to make sure that you take time to check in with yourself. Because if you can't be real with yourself, let's be honest, friend, you can't be real with anybody else. All right, you guys, that is it for this week's episode of Back to Besa. I hope that you enjoyed the show. And as always, dude, if there's a restaurant, if there's like a wine company, if there is a brunch, especially a brunch, that you want for me to check out, or even some local artists, dude, I'm trying to tap in with our artists again. Hit me up with an email, backtobesa@whereweconverge.com. I want to hear from you. This show is just as much yours as it is mine. This is our show, and it is important that we are telling the stories that you guys want to hear. Now, in the meantime, between time, in case you don't know, your girl is on the radio, okay? You see Hits 106.1 back here every single weekday, 7 p.m. to 11 a.m. And then on Sundays, I'm on the radio 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Saturdays, I'm on the radio in Portland from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. And what some of you may not know is that I'm also on the radio in Fresno, California, Sacramento, California, and Austin, Texas. And all of those stations are available on the iHeartRadio app. So make sure you tap in with your girl, all right? In the meantime, between time, until next time, you might already know what I'm about to say. I want to thank you for watching. Please have an amazing rest of your day. And of course, keep that energy high. Here on Back to Besa, if you can't tell, we celebrate Black excellence all year long. So on the next episode, we're uplifting some of our favorite Black voices and moments shared with you on the show this season. See new episodes of Back to Besa every Saturday at 10:30 p.m. on Fox 13 Seattle, and the replay Sunday at 10 a.m. on Fox 13 Plus.